Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast powered by Peer. This is our inaugural first episode, so welcome. We're really excited to have you guys here listening. The podcast in general, I'll just tell you a little bit about it. So it's going to be about interviewing some really exciting guests, having a chat with them about different alternative careers within pharmacy. So that spans, kind of every kind of person within pharmacy. So we're really excited to, I guess, have our guests on. So please stay tuned because we've got some really exciting ones coming on. And today, for our first episode, possibly the most exciting guests of all, we are interviewing each other. And actually, I got into this spiel, but I forgot to actually introduce us. So I'm Yaz, and this is Jin. So you can tell this is our first time. So yeah, Jin, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Let's go. So I'm Jin. I am a hospital pharmacist. I've been working there in hospital for about nearly 10 years. And I specialize in acute med. Outside of this, I do a lot of, I kind of dive deep into personal growth, personal development for the past about 6 years. I just love how you can make little kind of changes to form what you eat physically, mentally, and just ultimately support our own happiness and others around us, of course. And and I love to travel. So normally, if I'm not in the country or during my downtime, normally I'm out the country. It's a bit about me. Yes, do you want to tell us about you a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm Yaz. Hi, everyone. So I'm a pharmacist. Have been one for about I think 12 years now, right, Jim? About 12 years. I have trained in hospital, then went into community, then did a PhD in looking at the wider health system and where pharmacy integrates in that within the UK. And from that, I went and did a master's in artificial intelligence because I really like coding and specifically in the Python language. And yeah, I've always kind of been, I guess, an entrepreneur. So I am now starting my startup, which is in pharmacogenomics. And then on the side, because everybody has to pay bills, I do a lot of clinical safety work, medical device work, because I find it really, really interesting and it sort of marries up my interests of both technology and pharmacy and clinical practice. So, that's me.
Exciting. So let's get into it. We're just gonna go through a few questions about us, and hopefully that allows you guys to get to know us a little bit. So for me, Yaz, you're superwoman, and to many you are. How do you juggle life and as a mum with 4 young children, and entrepreneurship, like you mentioned?
Yeah, I guess, I guess it is hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. And there is like that misconception of um can you have it all, you can't have it all, and I guess for me, I'm one of those people that compartmentalizes. So I'm quite organized in the fact that my work time is my work time and my time with my kids is my time with my kids. They don't really cross over because I feel that when you're in one zone, you need to be focused on one zone. And I'm really lucky. Touch wood, my kids are absolutely amazing. They understand like the way that I work in terms of my work pattern and things. But when they're present at home or when we're doing things, I tend to be 100% present with them. And that way I feel myself that I'm quite fulfilled in a work and a parent sense. But things do go a bit wrong sometimes. You'll have a church service in the middle of the workday here, you'll have a party here, and you just kind of got to roll with it. But I think I'm really lucky that my kids are super understanding. So, you know, just like a few months ago when I was pitching, my son was actually helping me with my pitch. He's 6 years old. He was giving me some very direct pointers, which was really good. And, you know, I just kind of try and include them in everything, because at the end of the day, we're growing as a family and we're growing together. So I don't know if that's the right way to do it or the wrong way, but yeah, that's
This
kind of
is
how I
vital, well, I
juggle.
guess. Yeah,
Right.
like, kind of just, yeah, make it work for you and your family. Like you mentioned about compartmentalizing. How do you like stay present in those moments? Like I'm sure when you're with your kids and um, doing things with your kids and playing, etc., and work and homework and stuff, how do you really stay present in those moments, like in your mind? Do you have like so much things are going on, like, oh, I've got pitch tomorrow, I've got this tomorrow, or whatever you need to do in the next few hours? How do you really stay present in those moments?
Yeah. I think one of the things that is either a blessing or a curse is having everything on your mobile. Like you can
Yeah,
literally do anything and everything on your phone. So when I'm with the kids, I try and tend to just leave my phone on the side and not even look at it, because, you know, if you suddenly look at an email, your mind is already there. You're not there with what's right in front of you. So when it comes to kind of homework, you know, evening play, weekend things, I tend to just kind of put my phone away. And actually, I have it on sleep mode for most of the week. So if people need to get hold of me, they've got
105.
to ring a fair few times. Yeah, shh, guys, if any recruiters there. But yeah, basically, that's what I have, because, you know, you've got to be able to have some deep focus. And then, you know, I sort of, it sounds really weird, but I love a good spreadsheet. So I set out time, you know, time for emails, time for this, time for social media, time for that. Otherwise you just end up scrolling or looking or doing things all the time. So I think that's really important. And also, I don't want my kids to feel that, you know, you need to have a phone constantly in
Yeah,
your hand. Like that's not true. You can, you know, do things and be there and not have your phone there, and actually, you know, play a board game or go and kick a football. You know, you don't have to
no,
sit
it
there
is
playing
that
computer games. Right.
a little bit at
um
now, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's really easy for us as well. I don't know about you, Jen, how you feel, but it's really easy for us to just pick up a phone and just kind of be distracted for like hours,
Yeah,
you know.
scrolling, just going through every single TikTok, little
Yeah,
reels. But yeah, no, you can be even going on LinkedIn and just scrolling and reading. It's so, yes, it's parts is so motivational, but you just carry on reading and the time's gone. And sometimes you need to kind of take action somewhere and you're kind of reading and yeah, it gets a bit messy.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, thanks for sharing and about your little life with your family.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know you. Well, AI and digital health has grown so much over the past few years, and you've dived deep into this. And how do you kind of get into digital health at the start? How did you do that?
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting question. And I think I get asked that quite a bit actually. You know, especially people who want to kind of diversify their career, look into different avenues. And you know what? I think we're really lucky in the UK that we have such a nice health tech ecosystem here. You know, everyone is really one big community. I actually met the guys from Peer at a health tech event. I think it was maybe just over a year ago. And you know, everyone is really kind and open and you know, together essentially. So I think the way that I kind of went kind of entered it, I guess, first is going to different health tech events. And if you guys want some more, I guess, information on that, please just drop us a message. We'll have all the contact details and things. And actually, what we'll do is we can talk about where we find these places. But yeah, so essentially, just going to events. Networking is really, really important. Like, you know, everyone says your network is your net worth. Your network is super important, because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to speak to, and who they're going to introduce you to, or what they're going to have in the future, and that kind of thing. So it's really important to kind of cultivate that. And LinkedIn is a great place to do that, especially if you live in, you know, not near a major city like London or Manchester or Liverpool or places like that. Then you can still access information, people, opportunities, that kind of thing via LinkedIn. It's made it really, really helpful. Um, Yeah, and I guess me specifically, how I got into it. So I basically started going to these events. Obviously I was doing this master's in AI, and I basically built developed my dissertation around mental health and using AI, and that kind of led me to do a deep dive in terms of research associated with health tech. And yeah, and then doing a few presentations, you kind of meet different people within the entrepreneur ecosystem. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. I know it's a bit wishy-washy, but yeah.
Yeah, but that was your journey, and you kind of just went out there. It seems like you just kind of decided you kind of wanted to go into it. You enjoyed it. You did your PhD, etc. So yeah, and you did your AI course and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
So just takeaways from that, from people that I actually want to go into it, and their initial steps, if I'm not mistaken. So is literally go to these digital events, health digital health events that you can do. So we'll post those, and there's so much that is free out there that you can do, and therefore just network and build your little bubble, and from that you can kind of join loads of courses and stuff.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
was
And I think,
something in coding as well, if people wanted to try that. There was some group or something I know you mentioned.
yeah,
That's
so
really helpful.
yeah, I was going to say, so yeah, if you're a clinician and listening to this, so the NHS Clinical Entrepreneur program is really, really supportive and helpful if you got a business idea and you kind of want to get into health tech that way. That's such a super supportive community. And the other one, so there is a kind of company called Somex, which host a lot of events in health tech. So I would definitely reach out to them and look at their different events. And from then, there's the bigger conferences like Digital Health Rewired. I'm trying to think what the other one is now. Het, which is coming up actually in September. NHS Confed. So all those kind of things where you kind of meet people, and then your network will sort of snowball and get bigger. And also, you'll get to meet a lot of startups and scale ups within the space. So if you are looking for a new clinical role, you can have a look at that. But also, I know if you sign up to Peer, which is where you already would have signed up because that's where you're listening to this, they do have a jobs board, so you can have a look. And the best way to kind of get into this is to just get a job in it, basically. And there's so many flexi jobs, like part-time, full-time, after work things, if you didn't want to leave main clinical practice. It's so flexible. So I would definitely check out the Peer jobs board. But yeah, no, Jen, talking about kind of coding, I mean, I found a real interest in it and just learning how to do it
Yeah,
anyway. But you don't necessarily need to learn how to code to get into health tech, just putting that out there. But if you did,
good to know.
um
I didn't know
yeah,
that. So.
yeah. So so the way I started, obviously there's loads of routes. I went through the a program called Code First Girls, and basically I think it's 8 or 16 weeks. I think the course times vary because I did it quite a while ago, but they give you like an introduction. So there's an introduction to kind of website development if you wanted to build a website, an introduction to kind of Python coding, which is a
Mhm.
language that you code with, or different other types of languages. And you can just sign up there. And, it was really, really amazing. They literally hold your hand from start to finish, and by the end of it you will be able to code like a really, really small program, but you would have been able to do it, which is amazing. So they really, really give you the basics in grounding. The other free places are YouTube, so Free Code Academy. There's loads of coding courses on YouTube. Harvard CS50 is one that is also really fantastic. I recently just finished that one to have a kind of refresher, but it's definitely a really good one to give you the basics. I mean, it's a 50-hour YouTube video, but you can play and pause as you go on. But yeah, no, really, really good. But again, if you kind of wanted any other support, please reach out to Jin and I, and we can help you out in that aspect. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Teaching me here, so I love it. But but you mentioned about your like entrepreneurship in terms of business. How I know you're starting your business and have started it with Peachy, and how did you kind of build up the courage to kind of just make that change and start it? You've always been like business minded since I've known you, and coming up with so many new ideas. And how did you kind of build the courage to be like, do you know what, I'm gonna go and do this and try?
Yeah, that's right. You're right, Jin. Like she's so disclaimer, guys. Jin is actually like my journal. Rather than writing things down, I just tell her like literally every year, 2 months, whatever. I have a new idea. I'm like, Jin, what about this? Yeah, no.
Yeah,
So
there's a new idea.
it's true. I just can't help it.
It's
You know what?
amazing.
I don't know if you guys feel like this, but it's weird that I honestly thought everyone thinks the same way I do. So you just come up with all these random ideas. Only recently found out that not everyone is into thinking about tons of business ideas and things like that. So I probably bore a lot of my friends when it comes to this kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, I think courage and confidence is like a really, really important thing. I think it's one of those things that I am still battling with, in a sense that imposter syndrome enters a lot into my mind. I haven't got this degree, or I haven't got this, like, why would anyone listen to me, why have I got this, that kind of thing. But I think it's really important to focus on your passion and your drive and strive to get to the end goal. Obviously, there's loads of ways that you can do this in terms of, having your business plan, having a 3-year plan, 5-year plan, so that anytime you do feel where you're lacking confidence or feeling a bit impostery, you can just look back at that and be like, oh yeah, let me get back on the straight and narrow, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it gets back down to the root of why you're doing it. But I think a lot of way of building the confidence over the years actually has been because of you, Jim, because you've always kind of given me that focus in terms of, from your personal development sort of focus, you've kind of made sense. And I think that's helped a lot. But also, using a journal, writing down my thoughts, and, my family and especially my husband have always kind of given me that courage to be like, well, why not? Just do it.
Yeah,
Um,
we have a good network, so it's super nice to kind of build off each other and bounce off each other. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where, having positive people around you is really, really important, because you need people to support you, in the sense that support, not being negative so that you don't introduce any more negativity, support you so that you aren't afraid of failing, or aren't afraid of just going out there and kind of just doing it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think also along that line, like, doing my PhD, having kids, they've all given me that additional side of confidence, because I tell you guys, if you can give birth, you can do anything in the world, trust me. Sorry for the guys out there, but if you can, be a parent, you can basically do anything in the world. So yeah, no, that's from my point of view, that's given me that confidence to kind of be like, you know what, it's fine, just do it. And
So, yeah.
at the end of the day, like, all of us have spent time at university or within our apprenticeships to build our careers, to have something to fall back on. So we're never not going to be able to earn money or support ourselves or do. So why not just start your business and just do it?
Yeah, and I feel like we always will regret not just starting. Like later down in the years, I always think like we don't. I feel like I never want that what if. Like if I
Yeah,
just started it, just to see, like who knows what it can develop into, but just to see. Um,
exactly. And I think you know what, I was at entrepreneur event a few weeks ago. And so my startup, Peachy, is heavily focused in kind of ethnic minorities and making healthcare more equitable and accessible. And someone said something on the panel, and they were basically like, if you don't do it, but the problem exists, are you perpetuating the injustice?
yeah,
And I think that really, really hit home to me, because what is my tiny fear in comparison
yeah,
to a world that is already unfair? And if you can do a small, tiny step to make it that little bit fairer, imagine what you're doing and the impact that's going to have. So I think that is the newest piece of courage that I've had. So
We need more people like you with these
yeah, so
ideas. Your ideas just keep flowing. So it's so good. So yeah, it's amazing. And
but
I also
yeah,
think about courage and confidence is what you mentioned earlier. I feel like the confidence builds as you take courage. So you never, as you want to start something, you never feel like you have the confidence and all these thoughts come in your mind and you're not sure and your fears and anxieties. But as you take that first step of courage and the little steps of courage as through the path, your confidence builds because naturally you get better and what you get better at, you enjoy and you're learning. So your confidence builds. But when you look back, you probably didn't have that confidence when you first started, but the courage kind of propelled it. So yeah.
exactly. That is such a good point, Jin. So now it's your turn to be in the
I had a
hot seat.
question though,
Oh, okay, go on.
because you do so much, yeah? Like you
Yeah.
can already see how many avenues you are in and you do. What do you do to like chill?
Do I
Do you
chill?
chill?
I do, I do chill. I do. Yeah. So I guess like my vice. You guys are gonna laugh at this. My vice is actually Korean dramas. Like I am obsessed with Korean dramas. I don't know why I like them so much. So
Love it.
that is my time to actually like zone out. Like I will literally, if I've had like a really, really intense day, I'll kind of just sit there and be like, right, Korean drama. And because they're so intense and kind of
Yeah.
so you know, you need to read the subtitles, you also need to watch them, and then you need to do you're just all in. I can actually just switch off. My mind is completely
Still,
blank.
you're doing so much just by watching that.
That's true actually. But yeah, no, so yeah, Korean dramas absolutely
Okay,
love.
I'll take
And
note.
yeah. And if anyone
Well, I've been
has
to
any
South
kind of
Korea and it's amazing, so I'm sure the dramas are just as good.
yeah, that's the next step. So if anyone has any suggestions of Korean dramas that I may not have seen, please pop them in the
Yeah.
comments. But yeah, so I think yeah, that because you do need to chill out. I think sometimes you do need to just be able to switch off, to step back, to reflect. And you know, one of our mutual friends, who we will have on, so I'm not going to mention their name yet, because that episode is going to be epic. And always said to me, you need to slow down
Yeah.
because that is where you are going to really unlock what the direction that you need. You need to slow down. And I'm one of these people that don't like rarely slows down. But I kind of remember so when I was first initially starting Peachy, I was pregnant with my fourth, and I had terrible morning sickness, like terrible. So I could barely like kind of get off the sofa without having kind of like vertigo and feeling nauseous. And that literally forced me to slow down. So I was literally horizontal, forcing me to slow down for this predominantly like 3 to 4 months. And actually, that unlocked so many different things that I could do with my starter that I would never have thought of had I not actually slowed down. So I think
Ideas, we're in trouble. Just,
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that really showed me the key of, you know, as much as you don't want to slow down because you think you're losing time and you should have done everything yesterday, you know, it's
yeah.
super important to do that, to reflect and rest and reflect.
Yeah, no, you're so right. It allows you to think through all the noise because you don't always get that time just to stop. So yeah, it allows you the inner guidance to kind of kick in and yeah, direct the way a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
speaking of going on the go all the time, so you work in acute medicine on AMU, which is probably the most on the go place ever in a hospital. So where do you get your kind of day-to-day motivation to kind of keep going,
Yeah.
Jin? And do you ever get tired?
Yeah, guess I do. I did realize that slowly because my mornings are sometimes full on, and then when I sit down in the afternoon, I'm like, whoa, that was a lot of stimulation just there. You don't realize till you step out
Mhm.
of it. But yeah, no, you're right. It helps that I actually love my job, so that's a good start. But I love the variety of my job. So, in terms of I get the clinical kind of helping patients in the clinical side of stuff, and I get to lead a team. So I like the both. So it kind of helps in terms of every day that you love your job. I love working with the day-to-day, like different people, because you learn so much, and there's so much to learn from others, which I love. And there's great minds. We can all kind of work together and support each other. So because I love that, the motivation is there. And I'm not going to lie, like you said, some days are hard. Where we're at the moment in hospital, there's patients in corridors waiting, so it is difficult. But more so than ever, we need to kind of support ourselves, patients, and everyone around us. So it becomes even more crucial. But yeah, it's quite simple for me. Day to day, for me to kind of get out of bed, it's so simple. I literally think every day I'm going to make one person smile, one person laugh, and one person think. And it's literally no big kind of passion project or some big kind of vision. It's literally just my day to day. So simple, just to start on a good fit in, get up and start the day kind of on a good note. Because as easy as as soon as you get up, you get all these like in your head, I need to do this. But yeah, that's kind of where I go with that. And yeah, that's kind of what I do to kind of, motivate myself and carry on each day in the craziness of it all.
Oh, I love that. So yeah, tell us yesterday, who did you make laugh? Who did you make
Put me
smile?
on the spot.
Yeah.
No. So yesterday, because I actually reflect on it before I go to sleep, so smile. On the street, I walk near work. I'm trying to describe, but I walk part of my journey to work, and sometimes by the gates, there's just loads of people coming out after their night shift. As I walk in, so sometimes I smile back. Obviously, some people are like, "Oh my god, who is this early morning smiling? I've just finished my 12-hour shift."
Yeah.
But there's some people that smile back, so it's quite cute. So I did that
Nice.
on my way to work, and then laugh. We have a team meeting yesterday. So yeah, I'm always kind of making jokes, laughing, so people are laughing. So that's that. And think in the same thing, we're talking about an incident that happened and how we could kind of change our practice a little bit in terms of what happened. So yeah, we kind of dove deep into that, and so I guess that's like a bit of extra thinking required.
Amazing. Oh no, I really, really like that. And so, like you mentioned in your introduction, obviously work is super intense, and your downtime is you love to travel. So tell us a bit more about how do you get to travel so much? And yeah.
So I worked for the NHS for nearly 10 years, so I get a lot of leave. So that's a good start there. But yeah, I make it a priority. That is so super, super important to me. It's where, like you said, it's my downtime. It's where, like we're talking about slowing down, it's where I can really slow down and allow my inner thoughts to kind of take over and guide me a little bit. So I do use it as a reset. Yes, I travel a lot and do also backpacking and stuff. So it's quite like intense in terms of every day figuring out your way a little bit. But I love those kind of moments of not knowing. I kind of thrive in those areas in another country, not knowing and trying to figure it out. But how I do is mainly because I make it a priority. It's so important to me. I love meeting new people, different cultures, exploring different countries. And it kind of keeps me grounded, because when I come back, I become more sensitive to it, because if I go away for a long period of time and I come back, and I become a lot sensitive to all the little things that going on in my day to day, and I become more like anxious or pissed off at something or whatever. So it really keeps me grounded, because I realize that we're just this little tiny speck in this bigger universe, and we get annoyed at the little things day to day. You realize it's not that serious. It's literally not that serious, this life. Like, we just get caught up in this little bubble of, I don't know, whatever it is, London and working and just the day-to-day grind and the rat race, and you forget. And so the traveling allows me to kind of step back So when I come back, I realize this is not that serious. Like, let's just
Yeah,
carry on. It's so good what is happening. We're here, we're alive, we're good. Keep
that's
going.
it.
Yeah, and so propels me forward to kind of just carry on the days and keep working on what the bigger picture is and what I'm trying to strive towards. But yeah,
Amazing.
main thing is I take it as a priority. So anything that you do that you want to do, I'm assuming you make that as a priority, and then once that's on the top of your list, you kind of just act towards it.
Hmm.
So that is me. I'm always booking and going somewhere. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, because on that, you actually took a large amount of time traveling, didn't you, outside your
Yeah,
clinical practice? How long
yeah. I
was
took
that?
a year out of clinical practice just after I finished my diploma. So yeah, my
Yes.
postgraduate diploma in general, pharmacy practice. So once I'd done that, I went after that for a year. Yeah,
Yeah. So how did you get the courage of like, well, yeah, the courage and the kind of feeling to kind of go for a whole year? Because sometimes we feel like, okay, we're on this rat race, we've worked really hard, we've done
yeah.
our diploma, we just need to stay back in work because if I leave, I might not get the job that I want. What am I going to do to explain that gap in practice? Like, all of those kind of, I guess, questions can sort of fly around.
Yeah, no, exactly that. I wanted to go because it was something that came through me. I wanted to go and travel for an extended period of time, and after completing like what is nearly 8 years of studying, um, to be where I was at that point, and then having thinking I needed to do the IP, the independent prescribing, I kind of just wanted to go before that to take a break, but
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying is what came through my mind. I was thinking, like, if I take a year out, who wants to employ me again? Or what if I forget all the knowledge that I have and then have to start again? And I just was scared. I was thinking, and it
Mm.
took me time to kind of decide, okay, shall I go or not? Um, and I just remember now that I look back at it, it did help when I went initially with my friends. It did help with that courage to do such a thing, because you're surrounded by your people. So it allows you in a new space to feel more comfortable. And then I went alone for the other 6 months. But yeah, that now I look back at it, all those things I was thinking didn't really matter because
Hmm.
none of that has come up. Like what my knowledge would have been. Like, did I lose any? Yes, I had to like not learn, but as in refresh my memory, etc. And the new things and stuff when I came back into practice. Um, Luckily, I went a year and I had my job to go back to, so that felt a
Yeah.
bit secure for me. Um, but yeah, all the things that I thought that people would not want to re-employ me essentially when I didn't really matter because sometimes the interviews that you go for now, people actually want to know about that year. And I put it on my CV and they want to know. They're asking me questions. Oh, what was that year? Like, how was it? Like, what did you
Mm.
do? Like, they want to know that. And before I used to take it off my CV thinking, oh, they might not want to know that I spent a year like
Yeah.
traveling. um, but yeah, so I think it's just really just taking the courage to literally do it. If that's what you want to do and you want to do it, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, that you've left that gap in that year. And same with you, like it's kind of similar to like maternity. You take a
Right.
gap, um, and then you feel like, oh no, I have to go back to this job. Like, is it scary? Like,
Yeah.
to relearn? Like, how was that for you? It's kind of similar, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It is kind of, yeah, exactly, because you're taking a year out. And, I know a lot of mums and dads that have gone back after kind of paternity leave, depending if it was shared paternity or, because
Yeah.
both parents can take quite some time out. And what like when you go back, do I still know the same things? Am I going to be
Yeah.
confident in reading a drug chart or going back to community pharmacy or whatever sector or whatever realm you're in? It can be quite daunting, especially if you're in large teams and you have quite a lot of responsibility as pharmacists. We do have quite a lot of responsibility in terms of, our prescribing and things like that, and just our day-to-day work. Um, so yeah, and I can imagine it can be quite daunting, but yeah, I guess there are a lot of kind of schemes to help
Yeah.
us go back to work, isn't it? In terms of like, there's like a CPPE course, return to
Yeah.
practice, and things like that to support us. But yeah, what would be kind of like, I guess, the one piece of advice that you would give to someone who is thinking on kind of, yeah, did you do this as a sabbatical? And if so,
Yeah.
how did you do that? And secondly, kind of, yeah, what's the one piece of advice to kind of get people to just, yeah,
Do it. Yeah. My chief always says that in the hospital I work at, like, you've started this because now more people did it, because like not many people did it before.
yeah,
So it's like, what did you cause here? But no, if you want to do it, just do it. How I went about it was, I just wanted to do it, so I thought the only way was that I would have to leave, essentially. So initially I thought, okay, let me leave, and I thought they wouldn't give it to me as a year sabbatical. Like, I thought, who would do that? And I just thought they wouldn't, essentially. So I was gonna essentially leave, but then they said that there is this scheme, etc., that you can do, and I think we can take up to, I think it's like up to 5 years. I feel like
really?
it's 3 or 5 years you can take at once, in the policy. Yeah, it's actually a big chunk. So as I read through that, I thought, and they said there's some, if you something you want to do, we can do it. So it was initially a short period, but I extended it. And back then there wasn't many people doing it.
Mhm.
So it's easier to kind of manage within the larger teams of pharmacy within the hospital. But yeah, so there's always a something within your where you work, your organization, that will have something along the lines, either if you can't or you can. Yeah, so it's worth just checking it out, and seeing. And then it's up to you, like, to build, like, to get that courage to kind of do it.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do. But yeah, that's kind of how I went about it, and yeah.
Yeah. Any kind of tips in terms of like when you came back, what you did to sort of support you returning back to work? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to know what area I was going into, because it was that I was gonna go into any area, so that was the agreement before I left. So I
Yeah.
went into pediatrics, and I love pediatrics. So
Nice.
yeah, so I read around the new stuff that was happening within pediatrics. So, and as per your daily, or not daily, or monthly and weekly kind of newsletters that you get, or if it's RPS or CPPE or
Yeah.
things like that, your PJ articles, and just the new like information that comes through. So anything within those areas. But my day to day, I was more concerned about my day to day kind of practice, like screening, drug charts, and getting my methodology right, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Because once you've got that baseline, everything can kind of, you can learn at the job. And not
Yeah.
everyone's like that. Like, us two are quite like, we just go front face forward, and then just hope for the
Jump
best
in.
and learn as we go. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so it is always good to kind of know what area you're going to afterwards, and kind of, if you're doing that, and kind of, yeah, just dive deep into knowing um, what you want to learn in the area. So yeah. So yeah, nothing specific at all. It's just more understanding the bigger picture of where pharmacy is at, because you've left it for so long.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, like yeah, the PJ has some good articles. And I guess
even
also
talking to people. I think I remember talking to you and other people and stuff, like, and when I worked as well, just to see like what's going
what's
on, what's
happening.
the, yeah, because they're the best sometimes. Like we say, networking. It's like, it's the best. Sometimes the best information is from people, and that from that you can kind of go into your intricacies and dive into
And
the other
build,
stuff.
yeah. Would you recommend if people aren't kind of jump two legs in first, 2 feet in first, um, should they do some kind of shadowing and things, or do you think not?
Yeah, if you're worried about your day to day, as in going back into practice, then yeah, and yeah, do some shadowing. There's always like organizations that want actually people to and do more than shadowing. Sometimes it's like a bit of like experience and works into
Yeah.
providing something, not just shadowing, but providing something. And that way you're actually learning without the bigger responsibility, but learning as you go along. So it's not just shadowing, because sometimes that can become, so I'm a person that learns through doing stuff.
Yeah.
So therefore, sometimes if I'm shadowing, it's a bit more difficult. But if I'm doing as a bit of an experience and not as much responsibility, you're able to do the stuff. So yeah, touching base with the organizations, and through LinkedIn, there's so much, like even
Yeah.
just to
There is.
have the initial conversation, like pluck up that courage and just message someone that you saw on LinkedIn that actually, oh, that might be, what's the worst that can happen? They'll say no. Okay, the next one, like, what's the
Yeah.
worst thing that could
Exactly.
really happen? They
I
might
think
just say
that.
no, we don't do that, or they might point you into a direction like, oh, this person might know, or you might want to touch base with this one, and that gets you on that thing. And that's just like everything in life.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a lot to be said about the worst thing that can happen is no, because no is not a big deal at all.
Yeah,
There are, you just and actually, surprisingly, a lot of people are really, really forthcoming on LinkedIn. You can message anybody and just
yeah,
ask them for some advice, an opinion, support. And I know a lot of people out there would be more than happy to support you and help in any way you need. And I think yeah, just going back to that as well, like having that year out, whether it's traveling, maternity, anything, it goes back to that thing of kind of slowing down and reflecting on what you want to do after. A lot of parents actually don't want to return to work at all, which I think is amazing because I don't think I could ever be a stay at home parent. It requires way too much patience, and I do not have that at all. So I think, yeah, I think we've got a really good community, and I hope we're building a great community through this where, you know, changing and moving jobs and moving places and doing different things becomes the norm because we're in such a dynamic world at the moment where, you know, you you can just do a clinic
yeah,
here, do a clinic there, work however you want that fits into your lifestyle.
yeah,
Um yeah, so kind of on this kind of train of um your career work, so you mentioned also about personal development. Tell us a bit more about that and tell us how you kind of got into it and what has kind of propelled it going forward.
So again, it's from the year out. See how much comes to you when you really
Right.
slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came back after the year, and yeah, I was going back to the job in pediatrics, and I just felt a bit lost. Like I just didn't know what to do. I thought, okay, I'm doing this job, but then now what? Because I had so many things and ideas, and you learn so much from the travel. It's just like, well, now what? The day to day, and I just felt lost. And you come back in the hospital, and there's not really any windows. There's no natural sunlight, and it's like you spent your whole time outdoors traveling, and it was kind of a difficult place just to kind of navigate. So I touch based with a coach on Instagram actually. It was just a post that kind of resonated with me. It was like, are you lost, or are you trapped, or do you feel like you're unfulfilled? And that's what I felt like when I came back. So I just touched base, and normally I don't do stuff like this. So I just kind of messaged out and said, yeah, I'd want a conversation just to think. And that conversation literally changed my life. I was like, there's
Wow.
so much more to life and so much more to me and what I can bring. Um, so that's how it kind of started. So I kind of made it essentially a lifestyle. I just love how you can kind of just make the little tweaks, even the simple things in your day, like in terms of like high performance and like taking things out that no longer serve you, or putting
Yeah.
things in to help you and serve you, and support your happiness, like I always mention, because mental health at the moment is so big.
Yeah.
So ultimately, yeah, where can we help? In all avenues, our physical, mental, spiritual, emotional kind of health. So I kind of dove deep into that for about yeah, 5-6 years, and that's how it kind of started. And then I went into coaching, etc. So yeah, it was something that I just love to do, and I realized the value of it. And that was so important. And now it's just like a lifestyle. So it's yeah, super nice. And yeah, there's so much more for me to learn and dive deep into, and like put a mirror at me and to really open me up just to little things that I feel day to day. But the value of it was the mirror in front of me. It allowed me to see who I was and kind of yeah, see, mainly take ownership. That's where it kind of started from. It's kind of feeling those fears and those feelings. And whilst I got into coaching, I realized that it was now time to take ownership of those feelings and those where I was at, and navigate through the next steps. And what could I do the next steps to kind of build the life and build my internal world of how I wanted it to be. And it keeps evolving. So that's throughout the whole process. So yeah.
It's amazing. And yeah, so I guess on that, what is there any kind of things that you do or did in the beginning to kind of get people on this journey, sort of open up their minds essentially a little bit, to, you know, because you're right, like burnout, mental health, it can get a lot sometimes, you know, and it's really hard to kind of articulate that to people, let alone yourself sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it's really structuring my day. That's how I like waking up on a good footing and going to sleep at night on a good footing. That's what I can take control of. So what are the things that you can kind of take control of yourself? And they're the things that I have at my quiet times to be able to do that, because my middays get a lot of get messy. So in the morning, it's whatever you find your routine is, even if it's just like I sometimes read this one page a day today in this book I have, and it just kind of starts me on a good footing. Just have that quiet time, meditate, etc. But everyone has their own ways. Like even just walking is a form of meditation, or so your own kind of ways. And in the evenings, but sometimes when I get a bit chaotic in my mind in the day to day at work, I literally just stop and think, can I just feel myself breathing? I literally just stop and I just like focus on my breathing. And it's like it brings me back to literally that moment, because that's always what you have. You always have your breath. So literally I just take note of it. No one knows. I'm just sitting there and literally a quick 10-15 seconds. I'm normal breathing, but I'm just taking note of it, and it allows me to bring back to the present and then start again. Because sometimes if the day gets too chaotic, it's like it's too much stimulation. You can carry on and it's fine, and I'll go throughout the whole day. But sometimes then I finish the day, and when I reflect, I'm like, really didn't think about, I just was doing everything. I need to just stop and slow down. So yeah, I always come back to that randomly in the day, just my breath, because it's something that we all have, and we can all kind of guide towards that.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm going to try that actually next time, because you're right. Like I usually grab for a pen and paper and just start jotting everything that's in my head down. But you know, taking stock of the way your own breath and just slowing down, that's really, really important. So I think that kind of brings us to a close of interviewing each other, as it were. But so I guess, guys, this is kind of a flavour of what it's going to be like. Our podcast. I hope you really enjoyed this one, and please let us know any people that you'd want us to interview, or any questions you want us to ask, or particular areas you want us to delve into. Yeah, Jin, do you have any kind of?
No, we're super excited for this, and yeah, let's go. We've got a super exciting guest, so yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah. Yeah, just to, I guess, close it off, it will be available on Peer only. So please sign up and listen, and yeah, just give us all our pointers. Jin, have we lost you? Thanks. Bye.